everybody, Tracy here from Yogi Plant. Welcome so much to the first video of our beginner series. So if you've never done yoga in your life, this is a really good start for you. And if you've done yoga, but you kind of want to brush up on the basics, this is also a really great series for you. So this is one of 6. And yeah, thanks so much. You're a success already just by coming to your mat today. It takes a lot sometimes just to get here. So welcome. So this is a block and we're going to sit on it. I'm going to sit on it. Feel free to also grab a block or a blanket or something like that just to sit on and to lift up your sit bones just a little bit higher. It's always nice to come into a cross-legged position and to be able to lift your hips a little bit higher than your legs. It helps to sit up straight. So we're going to start today off with some yoga breathing, and then we're going to just go into some gentle stretches, moving all planes of movement in our body. And then we're just really going to focus on Sun Salutation A, and then come down, do a couple other postures, and have a nice Shavasana. So thanks again for joining me, and let's get started. So come into a comfortable seated position. And we're just going to take a big breath in through our nose and let it out through our mouth. One more time, breathe in and out through your mouth. Now we're just going to breathe through our nose. So breathe in and then let it out through your nose. We're going to breathe in for 4 seconds through our nose. Pause for 2 seconds, and then breathe out through our nose for 4 seconds. We're going to do this 2 more times. In for 4. Pause for 2. Out for 4. Pause for 2. In for 4. Pause for 2, out for 4. Pause for 2, in for 4. Pause for 2, out for 4. I invite you just to put your right hand down on the mat. Inhale. And on an exhale, we're just going to turn our head to the left, keeping our hand on the mat. You're going to feel a nice gentle stretch through your neck here. Maintain your breath in your nose, pause, out your nose, pause. You want to look down towards the ground. That feels okay for you. I invite you to put your other hand down on the mat. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, look to your right. You can put your hand on your leg, your right hand on your leg, or you can just leave it on the mat, whatever feels okay. So now you should be feeling a nice stretch in the left-hand side of your neck. I'm currently looking down at my mat. On my next inhale, I'm going to look up to the ceiling. And just really feel your shoulders dropping down your back here. Feel a nice stretch in your neck. On an inhale, we're going to come to center. Exhale, look down. Just hold this for a couple breaths. Inhale, look all the way up to whatever point feels good for you. Exhale, come to center. Look down, and then we're just going to roll our head to the right. On exhale, we're going to roll it to the left. You might feel a little bit of crinkies in your neck here, and that's just totally fine. I'm just going to roll it, whatever pace feels good for you here, from one side to the other. If it feels okay, look up. Continue to roll from one side to the other in a big circle. Okay, when you're looking down, switch directions. Circle the other way. Okay, we're going to meet in the middle. I invite you to put your right hand on your left knee. Put your left hand behind you, just for balance. So you're not going to be putting any weight really on your left hand. We're going to inhale. On an exhale, we're going to twist to the left. On an inhale, try to sit up a little straighter. And on the exhale, if it feels okay, twist a little more to the left. Now, the thing with yoga is it's okay to feel a stretch. It's not okay to feel pain. So if anytime you're feeling pain, I invite you to just come out of the posture or just release the posture a little, like don't go into it as far as you are. And I think we're all okay in determining what the difference is between a stretch and what is pain. Okay, on your next inhale, face forward. Take your left hand, put it on your right knee, use your right hand for balance, and on an exhale, we're going to twist to the right. Feel your shoulders dropping down your back. Your weight is balanced evenly on your sit bones, not pushing too far to the right. And you're feeling a nice twist to the right. Nice twist in your core, hips, your neck. Right, inhale, we're going to come to center. Exhale. Okay, on an inhale, I invite you to lift your left hand into the air. Put your right hand down on your mat. Inhale. And on exhale, we're just going to do a side bend to the right. Look up to the ceiling if that feels okay for you. And the secret here to getting a good stretch is balancing, trying to keep your weight balanced on both sit bones. And when I say sit bones, it's the two little bones in your bum. You feel them when you're sitting down on something. So you don't want to push too far to the right. You want to just maintain a balance here, and you're going to feel a stretch all along your left-hand side of your body. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Inhale, lift your right arm, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So my left hand is down on my mat. I'm going to inhale, and on exhale, I'm going to start bending here to my left, getting a nice side stretch. Once again, feeling your weight evenly on your sit bones. Your gaze looking up at the ceiling. Can engage your core here a little bit. Inhale, come to center. Exhale. I'm just going to do a little chest opener here. So I invite you just to, if you can, put your hands down behind you. Here, I'll turn sideways so you can see me a little better here. You can even take your block out. From under you at this point. So you just want to put your hands behind you and your fingers are pointing towards you. Okay. If it's uncomfortable on your knees here, you can also sit like this. So we're going to inhale and raise our chest to the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale and just lean back a bit. If it's comfortable for you, you can release your neck. Just let it relax. This is actually a modified reverse plank pose. Helps open up your chest. On inhale, we're going to come up. Exhale. Now I invite you to take your hands, put them down in front of you. Come on to all fours into tabletop. So what you want to do here is make sure that your hands are placed. Actually, I'm just going to move my mat over just a little bit so you can see my hands a little bit better here. Plus, I'm going to be standing soon, so you're going to see that too. Okay. So you want to put your hands so that they're directly under your shoulders and keep your knees directly under your hips. This is tabletop. And from here, we're going to go into cat-cow. So on an inhale, I invite you to lift your forehead to the sky and your tailbone as well. So you can see you're curving your spine here. Your spine's dipping. And this is cow. On an exhale, we're going to do the reverse. So our tailbone's going to come down, our forehead's going to come down. We're going to engage our tummy here. And on an inhale, we're going to come back into cow. And on an exhale, we're going back into our Halloween kitty cat. We're going to do this a couple more times. Exhale down into cat. Inhale into cow. And then exhale into cat one more time. Okay, on your next inhale, you're going to come back into tabletop. And on an exhale, we're actually going to come into our first downward dog. Okay, so don't forget to breathe here while I'm talking. Don't hold your breath. So basically, what downward dog looks like is that we're going to flip our feet over and we're going to lift our bum to the sky. So I'm going to inhale here. On an exhale, I'm going to lift my bum up. So the secret to a great downward dog is to keep pushing through your fingertips and through your hands, okay? Don't worry if your heels are not on the ground. It's not necessary. And what's really important here is your gaze. So you're going to be wanting to look at your thighs if you can. If that's too much, you could start by looking at your calves and eventually try to raise your gaze to your thighs. Don't forget to breathe here. We're going to hold this posture for 5 breaths. And if you can, you can also look at your navel. And as you're trying to look at your navel, it actually encourages you to push more forward, or push back, I guess, from your hands and lift your tailbone to the sky. You feel your shoulders, they might be bunching here. Just make a conscious effort to try to drop them down your back. Okay, on your next inhale, we're going to bend your knees, and then on an exhale, we're going to walk up towards our hands. Inhale out halfway, put your hands on your knees. Exhale down. And then we're going to inhale all the way up. Hands to the ceiling. Exhale your hands down. So this pose is called Tadasana. I'm going to actually face you. So Tadasana is your first pose in your Sun Salutation A series. So what happens often is when people get used to doing yoga and they do a lot of sun salutations, they forget that each posture is its own posture. So Sun Salutation A is a series of postures put together to flow. All right, so Tadasana, what you want to do is you put your feet together, or if you feel some tension in your lower back, you can put your feet just a little short distance apart. You want to continue to breathe here. Your hands are at your side. You're going to feel your feet rooting into the ground and the energy coming up through your body. You want to engage your abdominals here. You're going to feel like your muscles tighten kind of throughout your body if you engage your kneecaps. And what I mean by engage your kneecaps is you're lifting your kneecaps, which engages the muscles in your thighs here. Once again, drop your shoulders down your back. Your gaze straight ahead. And the cool thing about this posture is you can actually do this anywhere. So you could be waiting in line at the grocery line, and suddenly it's not so bad to wait in line because you're doing yoga. So I'm going to turn sideways now again, just so you can watch me continue to do the Sun Salutation series. So here we are in Tadasana. We inhale. We're going to inhale or exhale, and then we're going to inhale our hands up all the way to the ceiling. We're going to hold this for 2 breaths. Now we're going to exhale our hands all the way to the ground. Bending over in forward bend. Here in forward bend, what you want is your tummy to be touching your thighs. So feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to have your tummies touching your thigh. Once your tummy's touching your thigh, you can try to straighten your knees a little bit every time you do this pose. And you'll find eventually you're going to be able to stand in a forward bend with your tummy touching your thighs. So inhale. On an exhale, we're going to put our feet back into plank. And then we're just going to drop our knees. And then we're going to lower down all the way to our tummy through Chaturanga Dhanasana. Okay, so your hands should be equal distance to your shoulders, in line with your shoulders here. Your head's on the ground. We're going to come up into a baby cobra on an inhale. So inhale, you're going to be raising your head and your chest off the ground. Your tummy stays touching the ground, and your lift is actually in your core, in your abdominals. So technically, you're not pushing with your hands. Your hands are there just to help you balance. We're going to hold this breath, or this pose, for a couple more breaths. On exhale, we're going to come down. On an inhale, we're going to move into tabletop. Be sure that your hands are under your shoulders again and your knees are under your hips. And then on an exhale, we're going to flip our feet over and we're going to raise our bum into downward dog. Once again, you're pushing through your fingertips, pushing through your hands. Your gaze is at your calves or your thighs or your navel. You're going to feel your tummy naturally tuck as you raise your gaze. You're going to feel a nice stretch through the back of your calves and your hamstrings as you slowly drop your ankles down. Doesn't matter if they don't touch the ground, like I said. And then continue to push through your hands and gaze at your belly button. Okay, on the next exhale, we're going to bend our knees. And on an inhale, we're going to walk up to our hands. Inhale, forward bend. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, come up halfway, hands on your shins or your knees. We're just going to hold this for a second, 2 breaths. Your gaze is forward. Exhale down into forward bend again. So your feet can be together here, or they can be just a little bit apart. Your tummy's touching your thighs, it doesn't matter how bent your knees are at this point. And on an inhale, we're going to come all the way up, hands to the ceiling. Exhale down into Tadasana. So that is Sun Salutation A. In the next sequence, in part 2, we'll be doing this again and expanding on it. Okay, so we're going to go into a deeper forward bend here. So I'm going to face you just so you can see me a little bit better. So you want to put your feet about hip distance apart. You're going to inhale your hands up to the ceiling. Exhale your hands down, and you're going to bend at the hips. And here you can cross or hold on to your elbows here. You can micro bend your knees a bit if that feels good. And basically, we're going to let gravity do the work here. So we're just going to release your neck, relax your neck. Continue to be breathing through your nose. If you feel okay, you could close your eyes. You can also be just looking between your legs. Your gaze on maybe a spot on the wall or something to help with balance. And on an exhale, you might want to try to just bend a little deeper here. So you're probably feeling a nice stretch up the back of your calves, up your hamstrings. One more breath. On an inhale, put your hands on your hips and come up halfway. Exhale here. And then inhale all the way up. Drop your hands back into Tadasana. All right, so I'm just going to turn this way again so you can see me a little bit better here. We're going to go into Warrior One. So you can keep your hands at your hips. And on an inhale, we're going to step our feet back, our right foot back. behind us about, a little more than shoulder distance apart. We're going to turn our right foot so that it's about 45 degrees. And then you're going to find that your hips are naturally going to be facing the top right-hand corner of your mat. So you can keep your hands on your hips here. I'm going to just increase my stance just a little bit here. I have my legs are pretty long. So, as you do this pose, you'll figure out the right distance for your legs to be apart here. So we're going to inhale. And then on exhale, we're going to bend our left knee just so that it's above our left ankle. So you want to make sure that your knee is stacked above your left ankle and you're not too far over or too far back. Okay, so just a nice bend here. Your right foot, like I said, is turned 45 degrees. If this feels okay for you, you can inhale your hands into prayer. And if that's feeling okay for you, you can inhale your hands up to the ceiling. So you want to keep your weight equal between your 2 feet. Try to balance out your weight. Your gaze can be at the ceiling or ahead of you, whatever feels good for your neck. Your hands can be apart. They could be together in prayer, facing the ceiling. If you do have your hands in prayer, just make sure you're feeling your shoulders drop down your back so they're not bunching up at the top there. On an inhale, we're going to face center. Exhale our hands back down to our hips. Now we're going to turn and do this on the other side. So my right foot is facing the top of my mat. My left foot is turned 45 degrees. I'm going to inhale my hands to my hips, which are pretty much facing the top left-hand corner of my mat. And then I'm going to exhale and bend my knee. So once again, my knee is stacked over my right ankle. I'm facing forward. And this is feeling pretty good. So I'm going to inhale my hands into prayer here. I can feel my thighs reaching, I guess it's like turning upward. I'm engaging my thigh here. This is still feeling pretty good to me. So now I'm going to raise my hands into the air. Put my hands into prayer here, reaching for the ceiling. My gaze is up at the ceiling. Then we're going to hold this pose for a couple more breaths here. And on my next inhale, I'm going to step towards the back of my mat. Exhale down, back into Tadasana. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys chair pose. I'm going to do it sideways first. So you want to inhale your hands up to the ceiling. And as you exhale them down into prayer, you're going to bend your knees and drop your bum a little bit. Okay, so what you want to be able to see here is that you want to be able to see your knees, your toes over top of your knees. So you don't want to be bent so far you can't see your toes, okay? You want to slightly tuck your tailbone under, and then we're going to look forward. Our gaze is forward. Lots going on in this pose. I'm engaging my abdomen, my core is strong. My thighs are engaged. On exhale, I'm going to try to just drop a little bit lower, making sure I can still see my toes. Now, if this is feeling all right to you, on your next inhale, you could try raising your hands to the sky, your gaze looking up at the sky. Two more breaths here. On your next inhale, we're going to come into standing. Exhale into Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, inhale your hands up. Exhale all the way down into forward bend. Come up halfway with your hands on your shins or your knees. Exhale your hands down. We're going to come into plank here. Drop your knees, and then we're going to exhale all the way down to our tummy. On an inhale, we're going to come into child's pose. So we're going to raise ourselves up, and then we're just going to drop our bum back onto our feet. Relax here for a minute in child's pose. If it feels more comfortable, you can open up your thighs a little bit so your tummy kind of drops in between your thighs. Your head comfortably resting on the mat. If you want, you can take your arms and place them gently by your side, your hands facing up. And we're just going to hold this pose for a couple more breaths here. All right, on your next inhale, I invite you to come into sitting. And you're going to just sit back on your bum with your legs open. I'm going to face you so you can see a little bit better here. So we're going to open up our legs. You could grab your block if you like. On an inhale, raise your hands up. On an exhale, we're just going to fold forward at whatever feels good to you. Your gaze should be at your hands or your block. Your back is fairly straight, just curved slightly. And if your gaze is at your hands, it's going to help your back to stay in a healthy position as you're doing this forward bend. Right, inhale up, hands up. Exhale, we're going to go to our right here. You can grab onto your your shin here, if that's okay. You can also grab your toes. Maintain your gaze at your feet and exhale down. So you could be here and that's just fine. You could be here and that's just fine too. You're going to try to keep your sit bones balanced so the weight's on both of them as much as you can. There's obviously going to be a little extra weight on your right hand side because that's the side we're leaning to. You're going to feel a nice stretch in your hips here, down your glutes. You can engage your feet. When I say engage your feet, it just basically means that you're moving your toes so that your feet's not just like, it's actually like active. You're activating your feet. Okay, on inhale, come up to center. Raise your hands up. And then on exhale, we're going to do the same thing on the left-hand side. So once again, you could be here and that's just fine. What's important is you maintain your gaze at your toes and you're not feeling pain. So you can feel a stretch, which is really good. But if you're in pain, release the pose a little bit. There's no one around to impress, okay? I know sometimes in yoga we're like, oh God, I just want to go further. I want to go deeper. I want to look really flexible. But you know, you have to do what's right for your body. Okay, on an inhale, come to center. Hands up. And on exhale, we're just going to forward bend again here. So you grab your block. And we're just going to hold this posture for a few minutes. If it's too much for your neck, like if it's bothering your neck to be looking at your hands, but you want to be sure that your back is in a healthy position, you can also just look forward kind of ahead of you. So if it's bothering you to look right at your hands, you can look just ahead of your hands here, and just as long as you're not looking down and hunched over, you should be just fine. Okay, inhale, we're going to come up. Raise our hands up again. Exhale. This time we're going to bend. We're going to forward bend to the right. Our hands are going to be touching our feet. We're going to lift our left hand up. Look to the ceiling. And then on exhale, we're going to just bring it up and over. So we're doing a side bend here. So you're going to feel the stretch all the way once again on your left hand side. We're going to come up to center on an inhale. On exhale, we're going to do the same thing on the left hand side. First, you're going to bend towards your left hand side. On inhale, we're going to lift our right hand up. On exhale, we're just going to let it drop a little bit to our left here. If you find you're bending too far down, you can just grab your shins here, come up a little bit, because what's important is the stretch on this side now. Gaze is at the ceiling or ahead of you. Strong in the sit bones. On the next inhale, we're going to come up. Exhale into center. So now we're going to move into egg bridge position. So you want to just lay down on your mat. Your knees are up. You don't necessarily have to have your ankles touching your bum, but bring them up as far as you can comfortably. On an inhale, we're going to raise our bums in the air and our pelvis up towards the ceiling. So once again, you're not pushing on your hands. There's no weight on your hands. Your hands are there for balance. I should mention too that when you're in this pose, please do not turn your head left or right to look at me. So I will, if you can't see me, that's okay. You could come out of the pose and position yourself so you can see me. but please don't turn your head left or right. So on an inhale, you're going to raise your thighs a little bit higher to the ceiling. Push down through your feet. Use your breath here to find strength and balance. And if your butt's really clenched, try to unclench your butt. Release your butt muscles and push with your thigh. That's where the strength is coming from. On an exhale, we're going to release down. And we're going to do that one more time. So once again, I'm going to bring my heels in as close as I can. And then I'm going to inhale my pelvis up. If this is feeling okay to you, you could take your hands and gently clasp them together behind you. And that just gives you a little more of a chest opener here. So I'm pushing my feet into my mat. I'm lifting through my thighs, getting a nice bridge here. We're just going to hold this for 3 more breaths. Pushing through my feet. My head, my face is straight ahead. On an exhale, you're just going to want to drop down. Try to go 1 vertebrae at a time or just slowly down to your mat. And then when you're down completely on your mat, you bring your knees in to hug them to your chest. Give yourself a nice hug here. Feel your shoulders dropping down onto your mat as you hug your knees to your chest. You can wiggle your feet here a little bit if that feels good. And we're going to hold this for 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, you're just going to let your legs fall to the ground and your hands at your sides. On an inhale, you're going to lift your leg up with your knee bent. You're going to put your hands out into a T position. And on an exhale, just going to let your left knee fall to your right hand side. And if it feels okay for you, on your next exhale, you can turn your head to the left, gently to the left. So your face is facing left and your knee is falling to the right. It's your left hand knee falling to the right. And just breathe here. Let gravity be your friend. Allow your knee to gently continue to fall to the right as much as it wants to. A nice gentle twist here. Now inhale, we're going to raise our knee into the air. Give it a nice hug into our body. Inhale, hands down to our T position again, and exhale our foot down to the ground. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. I'm going to lift our right leg into the air, our bent at the knee. On an exhale, we're going to let it fall down to our left-hand side as we twist our face to the right. Try to really release into this posture. If you feel your body kind of fighting you anywhere or any tension in your body, try to release into that. Release the tension. Let your knee go where it needs to go. Two more breaths here. Okay, on an inhale, bring your knee up. Hug it into your body while your neck and your head is still on the floor. Inhale your leg up, exhale it down. You can just release your hands into the ground here by your side. If it feels good for you, bring your knees up, give yourself another hug. Feel your shoulders relax onto your mat. Now we're going to go into Shavasana here. So you want to just let your legs fall down. Let your feet fall however they're comfortable being. Let your hands fall to the ground, gently to your side, your palms facing up. Wiggle around a little bit, get comfy. You can release your breath here and just breathe naturally and normal. Don't worry about it. If you find your tongue is touching the backs of your teeth, relax your tongue. Eyes are closed, if that's okay with you. So corpse pose is super important. It's not one you want to skip at the end of your yoga practice. So continue laying here. Feel your body relaxing into the ground. And the reason why I say you don't want to skip corpse pose is because it's a chance for your body to reset itself. You've been moving in many different directions here today, and it's a great chance for your body to just relax. You're going to feel your mat. Just bring your attention to the way the ground feels under your heels. Feel the mat, the ground underneath your calves, moving up under your knees, under your thighs, under your glutes. Feel the ground supporting your body. Feel the ground under your back, your lower back, your whole body relaxing into the ground, feeling supported and safe. Feel your shoulders touching your mat, touching the ground. Feel the backs of your hands on the ground, your fingers touching the ground. Feel your arms on your mat, on the ground. Your elbows, your upper arms, your biceps, your shoulders, the tops of your shoulders on the ground. Moving up your neck, parts of your neck that are touching the ground. And your head. Feel your head on the ground. Feel how you're supported from your feet to the top of your head. Relax into the ground. If you find your mind thinking of other things, that's perfectly normal and it's okay. You acknowledge the thought, thank it for coming. Just gently let it go. Bringing yourself back to this moment. Feeling the air touching your face. Your awareness of the air all around your body, around your chest, the tops of your arms, the palms of your hands. Feeling the air moving all around your body, touching your tummy, pelvic area, thighs, down your shins, the tops of your feet, your toes. And I invite you to take this next minute or so just to be. Just to exist perfectly, just the way you are. And because this is a recording, I invite you to stay in Shavasana in corpse pose as long as you like. For those of you who would like to come out, I invite you to just start gently wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Move your body in whatever way feels good to you. Give yourselves a little stretch. And when you're ready, just roll onto one side, your head resting on your arm. Opening your eyes if you haven't done so. And then when you're ready, I invite you to meet me in a sitting position. So thanks so much for joining me in this practice today. If it was your first one, woo! So happy you came. You know, it's a success, like I said before, just getting to your mat sometimes. So have a great day today. And we're just going to end off with a little recognition. So I invite you to put your hands in prayer, touch to your forehead, peaceful thoughts. And you can touch your fingertips to your mouth, peaceful words, and your fingertips to the middle of your chest, and a peaceful heart. Namaste.